Okay, all right. Thank you, Nadine. I've got to, this is so much like following you on the screen, trying to follow also on the chat. It's live is work. But anyway, what we're going to do is I'm going to start presenting the course. So I will be talking, you can take notes. And because this Zoom meeting is being recorded, it will then be left live in the Facebook group. And so you'll be able to rewatch it and see again if there's anything you've missed. So why did I call this course the driver, the distinctive speaker's vehicle? Because I want you to feel that you are managing and driving your speaking. So it's all about taking the driver's seat and moving forward. And so I'm going to play a little game with the anagram. And the seat is all about 4 different spots, S-E-A-T. And I did write them down on the board behind you. But what we'll be doing in the next 4 weeks. Hello, Jonah, welcome. So what we'll be doing in the next 4 weeks is we'll go through the different steps of the driver distinctive speaker's vehicle. Today, we're going to talk about the state, S for state. What is your state, your body state? And that's why I'm going to stand to be able to show you a little bit better how you're going to feel. Because when you're standing and you have the right posture, the words and your feelings and strength will come through. So we're going to be doing a bit of practicing. You're going to go into an uncomfortable zone by making a couple of videos during this course. We'll be meeting on Monday mornings, but we will have a questions and answers call on Thursday. I will be doing all these sessions live. I'm here for you to be able to give you the best and to give you any feedback. So as I said, the driver's seat is 4-week course, S for state. State means the body, the presence, and the voice. And you can hear by my voice that you bring in the serenity, and we'll talk about that later on today. The second week, next week, will be about expression, speaking techniques, language techniques, rhetoric. How do I get somebody to remember my class? How do I get somebody to remember what I'm talking about? How do I get somebody to really change their mindset? You see, I've used 3 questions, always the same. And this is a technique to make sure that your speech is better held. We'll talk about that next Monday. Week 3 is for E, because we're in this driver's seat. So E is expression. A will be, how do I advise you? How do I make a pitch? And I've noticed that in the questionnaire, a lot of people are asking how to present their company, how to present their business, and how to present themselves. So we're not necessarily talking about a pitch for a speaking event out on a stage, which is the summum of speaking, but it's also, how are you? Nice to meet you. I am. I do. It could be an investor's pitch. Nadine knows this. How do you get somebody to put money into your company? You've got to make that pitch so it's so sexy that people are like, yes, I want that. So a pitch is all about how you're going to put the value proposition into your talking. And the week 4 will be coming together. It will be transmitting your content. We'll come together in the aspect of how do you make a presentation and how do you avoid death by PowerPoint? Because my daughter, she's starting school, she's just finished her internship. She's now going back to her university of, she's studying to be a nurse. And she said, oh my God, I've got 3 hours where the teacher's just going to read a 250-page PowerPoint. Now that kills anybody. So how can we make our presentations? How can we use the support so it can be really impactful? So on the 4th week, we'll be talking about presentation, frameworks, and how we can make sure our presentations really have an impact. And I'll give you an anecdote. 25 years ago, there was an airplane company that launched. And the marketing director came to SITA to present his new airplane and his new concept. And all he had was one slide. And that slide was orange. Guess who it was? EasyJet. He had only one slide, but I still remember that impact of one slide. So we don't need slides with loads and loads of text, and we'll speak that on the 4th week. So let's get into our driver's seat with the stance. What is a stance? Well, it's your body. How do you feel? And before we talk about posture and holding ourselves, dress up. Feel $1 million. Make sure that you're wearing what makes you feel fabulous. We can imagine, the James Bond where he's wearing his tuxedo and he looks really good. Hello, Diana, welcome. We can see people when you dress up, when you put on a dress, when you put the nice shoes on, where you put the makeup on, you do your nails and you look fabulous, you will feel fabulous. And that feeling inside brings in the confidence, because the confidence is constructed little by little. So I always say, dress to kill, dress to be $1 million. And it can be jeans, it can be trainers, but make sure they're clean. Make sure, well, I know it's very trendy to have ripped jeans, but honestly, if you want to be perceived as a professional, make sure you look that professional that you would want to work with, or that you would want to go and see, that you would want to give confidence to. So dressing up is the first thing. But secondly is the stance. So I said in S, the state. Your state is your body state. And so the stance is two things, is holding your body. So one of the most important things is to stand up straight. I recommend to put, I'm going to try and go back and see if you can see my feet. It's not always easy with these webcams, but it's important that your feet be up approximately just the same separation as your hips. So you're standing over your feet and you're standing tall. Men tend to put their feet out towards 10 to 10, and then they sit down into their hips. So they have this hip position where it makes their belly stick out, and then their shoulders are back, so then they put their neck forward to try and talk, and they look like a bit like Mr. Bean. So what I say is stand up straight. You have to hold your stomach. We're all ladies here. We can talk about the perineum. Feel as if you're holding yourself in and that you've got that invisible thread that's pulling you up and making you feel taller. Because when you stand tall, your body is straight. You can see your shoulder blades, they come down, bring them down. Obviously, you're going to be putting your chest forward a little bit, but that also brings your neck to be straight. The air will come in better because then you'll be pushing the air out better. So your body, standing tall, will help you give an impression of you owning the audience, of you owning the stage, of you owning what you're talking about, because you'll feel comfortable, you'll feel strong. Sometimes I say to my younger students, because I teach younger students, walk like a leader. And you see them, they start going like this, and they're very strong, and they're walking around. Yes, that is important. It makes you feel tall, it makes you feel big. So continue doing that. So the body and the way you stand will definitely give you authority when you're talking. Your feet are parallel. Don't sit into your hips, but stand straight. Women, we have a problem. We tend to stand on one side and then we move to the other side. So this is a very typical woman's position. You sort of sitting in the hip on one side and then on the other. Men love it because men think, oh my goodness, she's fragile, she's going to fall down, I'm going to capture her. And so there's this little game of seduction. Oh, hello. And the man thinks he's going to be able to hold her. It's all psychological. But if you want to show that you are strong, you keep your 2 feet firmly on the ground, straight. You can wear heels, not too high unless you know how to walk with high heels, but just make sure that you're not swinging from one side to another, giving that impression that either you're shifty or that you're fragile and you're going to fall down. Strong. Okay, so we're going to be strong. Our feet are parallel and we are holding our stance. There has been a lot of discussion about how your body influences your brain. And I'm going to give reference to somebody called Amy Cuddy. Now, Amy Cuddy did a TEDx about your body language. It's a little bit technical, but it's fascinating to know that, in fact, your body will influence your brain, and your brain will influence how you feel, and that will also influence the way you present yourself. So Amy Cuddy talks about increasing the testosterone and decreasing the cortisol. So she's actually done the tests to try to understand how your brain functions with different positions. And they did a test and they call it the power stand. So the power stand is something very powerful. And before I turned the on, I was in my power stand. So a power stand is something where you have a dominant position. You can stand, they call it the Wonder Woman stand. So you can stand with your hands firmly. You can even lift them up. You can sit in a position where you're very dominant, in a position with your legs up. So you can have a dominant position, but avoid hunching up. Avoid touching your face. Avoid curling up, because when you do that, you're coming into a position where your testosterone will go down, your cortisol, your stress levels will go up. Now, they compared this for people going into an interview, and just before the interview, people are sitting there, they get their pen, they might be looking at their phone, they're all very nervous, and those positions will actually influence how somebody else will look at you and how they will judge you. So you need to power build yourself with a powerful position before and during any moment that you're going to be speaking in public. So the crossing of the hands, the body language will say, no, she's not open. Closing the back, which obviously is not good, because then my voice goes down and obviously I'm not projecting my voice. So we take a power stand, and I'm going to ask you all to stand up and take a power stand. We're going to put the timer on. 2 minutes is long, okay? But we have plenty of time. So I'm going to put the timer on, and I'm going to ask you to stand up and to take a power stand of 2 minutes. Now, you can take any one that you prefer. Standing up, put your arms in the air, and I want you to imagine that you are, Wonder Woman, you're strong, and just the timer is on, and you'll understand that 2 minutes is very strong, it's very long. So we're going to stand there, take a powerful position, put your head up, put your shoulders back, put your arms in the air if you want to, but make yourself feel like a winner. You see that when people win a race, they automatically put their arms in the air. They're feeling strong, okay? And this 2 minutes, and we're only at 1 minute 25, so you can see there's still 1.5 minutes left. It is actually influencing physically your brain. Your testosterone is going up. Testosterone is the hormone, it's a male hormone, it's the hormone of dominance, it's the hormone of strength, of authority. And so this is actually influencing your brain. You're going to feel stronger, you're going to feel better, and it's going to reduce the cortisol. And the cortisol is a hormone which is for the stress. When you're very stressful, you have a lot of cortisol. So you need to bring that down, and we'll bring it also down with our breathing. But we need to have this body power that makes us feel strong for being able to have presence with everybody else. So we're now into 1.5 minutes. How are you feeling? Are you feeling the strength? Are you feeling more powerful? Are you feeling better? Look up into the air. I know maybe your cameras are down, but make sure you feel powerful, as if you're going to win the world. You've just won a race. You've just made something fantastic. How does that bring you in? How does that give you a lot of, the brain is starting to tingle, and all these different information's in the brain is suddenly giving you that strength and power. I can see somebody laughing. Okay, so I stop. Thank you for that. And I definitely recommend you, I'll turn it off. I definitely recommend you to do this anytime before you're going to be meeting people or you're going to be talking. And if you've got an interview, you can go into the toilet or in the car. You can be saying, yes, I'm going to do it, because it will influence you. But if you must not doubt in your brain, just let the body believe how you're feeling. So the increase of testosterone, the decrease of cortisol. And what I'm going to say is an exercise that you can do is take a picture of your dominant or your power position and put it up on the group during the week so that we can see how you're feeling. And if you're really interested, you can always watch the Amy Cuddy TEDx talk. I'll put the link, if Nika could write that, Amy Cuddy in the TEDx, so that you can see it if you're interested. It's technical, but it's fascinating how that influences how other people are going to perceive you. All right, so we talked a little bit about the body. Now we're going to come to the state of how you make your body feel strong and bring in authority. Breathing. There's two important things, breathing and vision. So when I breathe, I talk. You can't talk without breathing. If you breathe and don't talk, it's very difficult. And you can't talk trying to breathe in because it makes your sound looks quite funny or strange. So breathing is actually very important. I've got an anecdote to tell you. I'm English and Spanish, and I started working in France. It's repeated itself, so I'm going to say stop. Sorry about that. So when I was working in France as a training manager, I was talking all the time, and I was talking in French. And I actually didn't know how to breathe properly when I was speaking. And so because of that, I caused I caused nodules on my vocal cords. So my vocal cords were, they were brushing in such a way that I got, like, you know, when you play tennis and you get a hard thing, I had them on my vocal cords. And I would lose my voice. I would have this husky voice. And my boss thought that I'd been drinking or partying too much, but it was literally because I did not know how to breathe when I was talking and presenting the products. And I actually had to go see a specialist to teach me how to breathe speaking in French. So the breath influences your voice tremendously. And we'll talk about how we use your breath for the pace when we talk about the voice in a moment. So allowing to breathe, slowing down the pace, allows your audience to understand and take in what you're saying. If you talk too quickly, they don't have the time for it to sink in, to understand. So pace, we'll talk in the voice, is very important. The second point is your vision. We have two types of vision. We have the focal vision, and I can look down and look straight into the camera. When we have focal vision, we focus on one thing, on one person, on one object, and nothing else counts. Now this, when you're public speaking, can be very dangerous, because you start thinking only about that single thing. It could be the edge of the stage, and suddenly you're very aware, and you become aware of your own fear, and you're in a cycle. So what I want you to look about is the peripheral vision. So you can take this exercise and look around and be aware. So you can see me in the screen, but look around and see next to your screen, what do you have? What is around there? Because when you start talking about looking at the other things around you, you have an unconscious awareness of your presence in a single place. And so this vision, this peripheral vision, allows you to be a lot more present and to be with your audience and with the person with you, or the person that you're speaking to. So let's think of it again. I'm coming back to the driving. You're just starting out, you're just starting to learn to drive. You've got the steering wheel, you've got the knobs, you've got to understand what you're driving inside. You might have a gear stiff. You've got 3 pedals, you've only got 2 feet. You're like overwhelmed. Oh my goodness. And sometimes you're going to start focusing just on the edge of the bonnet. Am I going to hit? And you don't see the other car or the wall or something else. It's the beginning when you're driving, you're not understanding. But as soon as you've started to accumulate experience, you get in your car, you drive. Sometimes you don't even remember that you've been driving. You've actually reached your destination because you've got this peripheral vision of a whole situation. And so this vision where you look around and you absorb the people around you is very important because it stops you focusing on your own fear and it starts focusing on what you're giving to others. So your peripheral vision will become a state to be more relaxed when you're talking and bringing out your authority and your energy for when you're talking about something in general. So don't think about focusing on one point, but think of the vision. And you can take this example now and you can look at me, but you can also look at the things around you in your room. You can see if you've got some flowers, you might have, you know, the children or whoever or other things around you allowed to be absorbed. And you won't necessarily be frightened about one single thing because you're taking in the whole vision. So it's very important to have that state of excellence, like driving a car, driving in your speaking. Eye contact. There's nothing worse than shaking hands with somebody and they don't look at you. You know, if they shake hands and like this, are they speaking to me? Are they saying hello to me? So it's give eye contact to the people you're with. If you're speaking with 3 people, make sure you look at each single one of them. Give them that, how can I say, that presence of yours. And it's like making them feel significant. Because when you talk to somebody and you look at them and you listen and you give active listening, you're actually giving them respect because you're saying, you are significant, you are important, I'm listening to you. So when you're presenting yourselves, think about eye contact. It can be quite embarrassing. Some people are like, oh my goodness, don't want to look at them. So I find this often with my younger students. I tell them to look on the forehead or just up here at the hairline. Okay, maybe look for a pimple or look, I've got this unicorn, it's my unicorn button. So look at the forehead and the person in front of you will think that you're looking at them, even in the eye, even if you're not. But train yourself, do it in the mirror, look at yourself here. When you speak to somebody you know very well, look at them elsewhere than their eyes and see how comfortable you feel. Practice looking at people and it will create a bond, because when you look at people and you give them significance, it creates that first bond. It shows that you're actually loving them, and that loving them will want them to hear you and to listen to you. And it shows that you are being your authentic self. You must be natural. Natural is really important. You can make mistakes. On the contrary, we are human and you're not perfect. And actually, we see this on social media. If you take a picture, usually the pictures, when you take it on your own, are a lot better than the professional pictures. They get more likes because it's suddenly a human side of you. So when you're talking, you're allowed to say your human side. You're allowed to show your authentic self. You're allowed to show that you're vulnerable. I mean, I'm really nervous today, but it's important. I want to share what I know with you guys. And perhaps the fact that I am vulnerable because I'm saying things makes you understand that, you know, I am human and I'm just like you. I've just had some experiences that I'm able to share. So be your authentic self when you're talking. So we've talked about the body. We're going to talk a little bit about the movement. And it's not easy on Zoom because there's a little delay and what you do with your hands. So there are some people who really feel uncomfortable and they're very rigid. So they stand with their hands, you know, they don't know what to do. Some students will put their hands in their pocket. A very simple way, and this is a friend of mine called Laurence, she always says, break the elbow. So she says, like, break the elbow so that your hands are just in an open position. You don't want to be closed because that is a closure of who you are. You want to be open, and you can point, but give the idea that you're there for them, this openness in your hands. No pockets. Touching the face, well, does that make you think that I'm wondering? Perhaps that I want to give that information in my talk. You don't want to be playing with your hair all the time because then you can see there's the nervousness. So be conscious. If you're on stage, if you're doing a public speaking in a meeting, you can move. You don't have to be rigidly just standing there. You can move forward. You can also move towards people when you're wanting to put an emphasis on something. Now, I think this would be really important in a meeting. And you slow down your pace. We're coming to the voice in a moment. And you give them that moment of thought. So movement can be important when you are talking. So now the final part is we're going to be talking about the voice. Now, the voice is a fabulous toolbox. It's actually the most powerful sound in the world. A voice can say, I love you. A voice can start a war. We have so much power in our voice, and we can have that power. Let's use our power to make things better in the world. So it's the art of eloquence, the art of speaking. Now, there are many, many, many different theories, talks, presentations, ideas, but I've tried to resume the 6 most important points to discuss about your voice. The first is register. Locate your voice. Is it up? Can people talk up in their nose? You see when I'm talking like this? Or they bring it to their throat, or they give it down to the chest, which is a lot more powerful. When you speak with a deeper voice, it's considered more powerful and more authentic. We actually vote for politicians with a deeper voice. So this can be worked on. If you have a high-pitched voice, learn to bring it down. And we'll talk about the pace where it will slow down the rhythm. But the voice, the register of the voice gives you the power in your speaking. We talk of the timbre, the way our voice feels. And people like a rich, smooth voice, a voice like hot chocolate, something that's like warm. The posture and your breathing is going to help your timbre. If you're talking too quickly and you're agitated, the voice will obviously get influenced. But if you bring the voice down, you bring the power into the chest, and then it will improve the timbre of your voice. We talk of prosody. What is prosody? Well, I can speak all the time at the same voice without changing. It gives a monotone voice, and this can be really boring once you're hearing somebody talking all the time at the same level of voice. The prosody is where I move the voice up and down to bring movement, and it can also be very repetitive. So prosody is to avoid that monotone voice and bring some movement, and we'll talk about the repetitions tomorrow, or next week, sorry. Pace. Pace is, how do I get things to go very quickly? I can bring energy. I can start making things feel really quick because we're running or we're getting to a situation, or I can really slow down. And in that slow, I can bring it right down to silence. And silence is very, very powerful because it brings us the emphasis of what we want to say. So don't be frightened to use silence. Don't fill up the silence with ums and ahs. Allow things to sink in. Allow things to be registered by the people in your audience. It's a little bit like when you tell a story to children. Once upon a time, there were 3 little bears, and you give this idea of, the idea of anticipation, what's going to happen. You could imagine the drums are ringing, da-da-da-da, and suddenly, that is very, very powerful in speech. So the pace will help. When you're presenting yourself, you can say, my name is Helen Gailey. Leave a moment just after presenting your name for them to sink in. If you have a complicated name, it's the moment to explain it. My name is Gailey. It's spelt with an E and a Y. It's Helen, the English way, with no accents. I live in the French-speaking part of Switzerland, and everyone writes Hélène with accents and an E. So it's the moment for you to also get people to register who you are. My name is Majeska. We pronounce it Majeska. It actually has this origin. Why not share some information? Helen means light in Greek. So I light up your day. Sometimes when I say that, people say yes. But that little anecdote when you're presenting yourself makes people remember. Oh yes, I remember Helen. She was fun. She said this. That stayed with me. So when you present just your name to somebody, make sure that you have that moment where they're going to register who you are. Give them that pause, give them that space and that silence. Pitch. So the fifth point is pitch. How do you bring sense to a phrase? Where are my keys? Where are my keys? Oh my goodness, where are my keys? The same phrase with different pitch can be a different meaning. So one has to be careful, because when your daughter comes in and says, oh, where are my keys? You feel threatened. She would have said, where are my keys? There's a difference in the nuance. So your pitch will also influence how people perceive your message. Is it aggressive? Is it strong? Or is not? And pitch is very important when you're giving a speech. And the last point is volume. I can speak very strongly and it can be painful to the ears, or I can speak very softly. And actually, when we lower our voice and we give silence, we have more impact than if we start shouting. I have a Spanish temperament because I'm half Spanish, and my mother was also a very energetic lady, and there's a lot of noise in Spain and that is very loud. But I have more power with my students when I shut up or when I whisper, okay, what are we going to do next? Because they have to close their mouths and listen to you. They have to be more wary. They have to have that active listening to who you are and what you're saying. So the volume is very important. However, if people are, and I'm going to go back because I don't want to, if people are shouting all the time and they're saying the things really loudly, it's not comfortable. So this is where your breathing comes in to help you project your voice and your posture. If you're hunched up and I'm talking like this, I can shout really loudly, but nobody's going to hear. But if I have the right posture, I can speak and everybody in the room can hear me because I'm projecting my voice without shouting. And that is very powerful on a stage, but it's also powerful in a room or in a meeting. You know, you put your hand up. I would like to say something, a bit of a pause. I believe that this project could be, have you thought of this? We'll talk about how you give negative feedback. But if you put the volume in, but you also bring in the pace, people will listen to you. So we're going to do one last little exercise, because before you start speaking, you need to practice and warm up that voice. So what I get you to do is I want you to lift up your arms and I want you to breathe, and you're going to sigh out, oh. So you lift up the arms and you go, oh. So the air is coming out. Oh. Breathe it all out. Breathe out those negative energies. Ah, you can say the noise, bring it out. Oh. All right. Now we're going to warm up the lips. I want you to say ba, 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 ba. Loud, you know, open the mouth. Ba, 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 ba. And then this is good for those that are Mediterranean. Get those lips. Because that, you can feel the tingling. They're warming up. They're getting ready to talk. Now you're going to use your tongue. La, 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 la. Use your tongue to bring out the sound of the tongue and get it to move. La, la, la. Open the mouth. Articulate, okay? Roll the R. We say that is du champagne for the tongue, although I prefer a glass of champagne. So roll the R's. And then the last one, if you don't have time to do all the others, this is important. You take a wee that is high and an all that is low. Wee, oh, like a siren. Wee, oh. And so you get the voice to start using the different, you can feel, I can feel it at the back of my voice. Wee, oh. So warming up your voice is important. I have a little game. Take a pencil and you're going to put it in your mouth. And I'm not sure if anybody saw my reel, but if you put a pencil in your mouth, it's going to oblige you to speak with a smile and to learn how to articulate. Hello, how are you? You cannot talk easily with a pencil in your mouth. So I recommend you to try and practice this on your own to articulate phrases. You can look in the mirror. You look ridiculous, but it's really good to get the pronunciation of what you're wanting to say. Hello, nice to meet you. I am called Helen. How do you think I feel when I talk with a pencil in my mouth? Not easy, but I can promise you that that brings the smile and it makes you so much more friendly when you are talking. And when you remove the pencil, it's so much easier. So even the little difficult ones, the little phrases that you're not sure, you're going to have to practice. So you will practice, practice, practice in front of a mirror. And I do recommend you to actually film yourself, because it's not easy to, how can I say, it's not easy to hear your own voice. I don't like my voice when I hear myself. And so the more you hear yourself, the more you register, the more comfortable you become. So if you have a presentation, if you just have to go to a meeting and just present yourself, you know, and you're in the bathroom, you're putting your makeup on, you say, hello, I am Helen. Hello, I am Helen. Hello, I am Helen. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm an entrepreneur. And play with the sound of your voice. Play with the timbre. Play with the register. How do you feel? Hello, hello, hello. It might sound ridiculous, but you really need to practice. And the more we practice, the better we are. When I did my TEDx talk, I practiced and practiced and practiced, and I still didn't get at what I wanted to say, but it overcomes the fear because you know what you're talking about. So even today, I practiced and practiced, but I still have my prompter to remind me of what I've got to say, because otherwise I will forget. So we're coming towards the end of the class, and I wanted to just remind you of the points that we've gone through. We talked about putting ourselves in the driver's seat. So we talked about the body and the state. How do you hold yourself up? How do you project your voice? How do you use your body language to express power? How do you pump yourself up in that power position, the Wonder Woman position? And I'm going to show you a picture, because I'm going to just share this. How do I do it? Share my screen. Where am I? So many things. More. I'm not sure I can. Oh, share screen. So I want to share this one. Share that one. So can you see the lady of the current slide? Okay. So here we have the power position, the woman where she's holding stand. This is Wonder Woman, of course, increases the testosterone, decreases the cortisol, and you've got the name there, Amy Cuddy, the TEDx of body language. And she's a very attainable, lovely young girl. All right, I'll stop sharing. Okay, so we've talked about the lady, your body position, how you pump yourself up and prepare. And then we talked about the breathing, bringing in the tempo, the pace of what you're talking, and your peripheral vision, trying to understand everything. And obviously it's not easy when you have a lot of people around you to be able to give them all some attention and to be your authentic self. Don't be frightened. If you're shy, it doesn't matter. Nobody is there to judge you, and stop judging yourselves. Because if you judge yourself, then you're the one that's giving yourself the bad vibes. Just feel like you're $100 million, dress the part. Oh, we said that as well, didn't we? We said that you need to dress the part and feel good. Be your authentic self, use eye contact when you're meeting people. And then the movements, try to not to be too running around your feet, but standing firm and strong and giving out your energy and your message to the others. We talked about the toolbox of your voice, the register, locate your voice. Is it in the nose? Do I bring it down a bit to the throat, or shall I bring it right down to my chest? And practice. Practice with your children, with your cat, with your dog, whoever you want. Come here, come here. Do this. No, don't do that. Don't do that. You'll see the difference when you play with the register. The timbre, the rich, smooth, dark chocolate. I mean, I live in Switzerland, so we're very lucky to have rich, dark chocolate. So imagine that you've got that chocolate in your mouth and you just feel, it's so good. The prosody, don't forget to have some rhythm in when you're talking. It's nice to hear a voice that goes up and that goes down. If you're talking all the same time at the same level, it just gets really monotonous and click, you turn off. The pace, am I going too quickly? I will bring the energy to the scene, or shall I slow it down? And then I can use silence for something to really stop and give emphasis. The sense of the phrase with the pitch. Where are my keys? Where are my keys? Oh, where are my keys? And totally different. If I say it one way, I'm perhaps even saying, oh, you silly ninny, what have you done with your keys? Where are my keys? Could be accusive of somebody else. And the volume. using that volume loud to get attention or quiet. So I've come to the end of my presentation for today. I've got a few minutes left for any questions. Does anybody want to ask anything? Diana, take off the volume if you want.
Hello, I missed the first minute. So where do you teach?
I actually am starting coaching online, but I do some teaching in some colleges here in Switzerland to adolescents on how to be a leader, and I also do it with companies as a business coach. So how to be a leader, how to present yourself, and I've done a lot of talking in the fragrance world because I used to work in perfumes. You see, I give a space and I allow Diana to talk. It's important when you have interaction with people is to give them also their space. Anything else, Diana?
Well, I just noticed that I'm still speaking. I wanted to congratulate you because the way you spoke today, I really liked your course. I think I make I think feedback is really important. So I just wanted to share this with you that I really liked your presentation.
Thank you. I will ask you for feedback because that's what I'm trying to is create an online business. So I will ask you for that at the end of the course. We'll be going through the next steps next week. Anybody else wants to say anything? Mariska?
I can't wait for the next week. I want to see how they all come together.
Okay.
And for the 4th week, but thank you. Everything was good.
All right. So what I'm going to give you a little exercise is I'm going to ask you to take a picture of your power pose and put it on the group. And I'm going to ask you to imagine to present yourself, either just write it down, or if you dare to take your phone, because it's very simple, and film yourself saying, hello, my name is, and I am. Just very simply, you can say where you're from, because by listening and practicing, and if you want, you can put it in the group. If you feel really conscious and you don't want to share, send it to me in a direct message. I'm here to help you and to give you positive feedback. But you will see that if you do it in the group, you will get also likes and comments from other people, and that will also boost your energy. So there you go. Ramun, do you want to say anything? I see you said a little message. Thank you, brilliant, awesome. Thank you very much, everybody. So if there's no other questions, Nadine, you have any comments? My coach, I'm going to get nervous now.
No, you have been doing great, and just illustrate what you say. And my comments are just great. Maybe I will just add some new little tricks, but we will share it together. Just on the way, for example, to find your position when you stand, it's just to go on your tiptoe and just get, and you don't move anymore. That's a little tip I am using for positioning yourself.
Okay, I'll take note. Thank you. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. I will put this video on the group. So for those that haven't, because we have around 25 people in the group now, so they'll be able to see. And then we'll be on question and answers. If you've got any questions about talking or just feeling conscious, how you feel, I'm open on Thursday to be able to share with you any other direct questions. All right. Is that okay? Thank you so much. Have a good evening. Mariska, sleep well. And everybody else is beginning of the day or Europe. So thank you so much for being here. And I'll see you on Thursday. Bye-bye.